The future of President Joe Biden's plan to relieve millions in student loan debt is headed to the Supreme Court. The justices agreed to hear arguments in the case as early as February, though not immediately as the Biden administration had hoped. The plan has faced a number of legal challenges since it was rolled out this fall. Critics say the administration lacks the authority to waive student debt. They say that's Congress's purview. The White House insists that borrowers are in legal limbo right now. Joe Khalil is live this morning to tell us more about the specifics in this case. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Mitch. So the decision that the Supreme Court made was to put this case on an unusually fast track. They're going to pick it up and hear oral arguments in February, which, if you're not super familiar with the Supreme Court, may not seem that quick. But I can tell you that is incredibly fast for this court. Remember, they have to take up hundreds of cases every single term. So the fact that they're going to hear this in February now, just really a couple of weeks away, it is an indication of how important this case is when it comes to how many people it's going to impact. I mean, when you think about the student loan situation in the United States right now, it's hard to think of another case that's going to have an impact on so many people almost immediately, whatever the court decides. So that is where we are right now. And just to remind everybody at home, what is at stake? We're talking about tens of millions of people that could possibly have up to $10,000 in their student loans wiped away. In some cases, depending on your income, $20,000. And we know that so far, more than 26 million Americans have already applied for this loan forgiveness program. All of it on hold, though, until the Supreme Court makes its decision. And, Mitch, that 26 million number we know is actually smaller because there are people that have tried to apply for this that could not because it is now frozen until the high court makes its ruling. Now, this case comes after 6 different states sued the Biden administration to stop the loan cancellation program, arguing they were going to lose out on some significant tax revenue if this program went through and if loan debt were forgiven at such a high level. And it is a high level, pretty objectively. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates that canceling this level of student loan debt is going to mean that the government loses out on about $400 billion with a B. That would make this one of the largest government programs in history here. And again, that is from the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. The decision Thursday to fast track this case came from Justice Amy Coney Barrett, one of the conservative justices. There was no dissent in this case. So in the meantime, the Biden administration has now extended the pause on student loan payments until this case is decided, meaning that if you had student loan payments, you were supposed to start paying them again. There's been a big pause during the COVID era. You were going to have to pay in 2023 in January, but there is now an extension on that pause. So if you've got student loan payments outstanding, you don't have to pay them back again until June of 2023. You got about 6 months of a cushion there. Presumably by June, we will have a decision coming down from the Supreme Court in this case, Mitch. But again, just to reiterate, the amount of people that this is going to impact, no matter what the Supreme Court decides, is really unprecedented when it comes to, Supreme Court decisions. Certainly, they're always important. They always impact lots of Americans. But you're talking about tens of millions of people almost immediately that may see $10,000 to $20,000 in their loans wiped out, depending on what the Supreme Court decides, Mitch.
And, Joe, I know this is a tough question to answer because you are not in the Supreme Court right now, but typically with big cases, they do release their decisions in June. This hearing is in February. Do we expect a similar timeline, or are things kind of out of whack here as far as the regular timeline of the Supreme Court?
It's hard to tell exactly when the Supreme Court will come down with its decision, but usually when they get the initial case, it takes several months for them to even schedule a date to hear the oral arguments. And then usually decisions come down in June or July. You're right. It's around the summertime that we get decisions that come down. So, again, the fact that they're going to hear this case in February after just, initially getting it now or taking it up now is something that we don't typically see, which, again, I think it's just an indication of, how important it is and the impact of it. And clearly the justices recognize that, agreeing to hear this case in just a couple of weeks. But when it comes to getting a decision, it may still very well be that June potentially July timeline. We'll just have to see. Usually when I guess what the Supreme Court's going to do, I'm wrong. So I'm not going to guess now, and they'll overrule me right away. But yeah, that's the sort of the regular timeline that we expect, Mitch.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation in your cable lineup. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-based, unbiased coverage.